Well, you guys loved part 1 so much that we're back with a part 2 to our list of the top 5 scary plot twists in horror movies, and honestly, I couldn't thank you guys more. As you will be well aware, I'm a big lover of all things horror, particularly film, and being that, I never forget a plot twist. In fact, I love to talk about plot twists, as you'll remember from our first part. So, deep dive with me today as we travel through the depths of some of the best horrors that were completely turned on their heads because of one tiny twist that would make even M. Night Shyamalan quake. Let's go. P.S. I will be spoiling every single film on this list for you, so if you haven't, go watch them all immediately and then return to this video. You have been warned. Okay. Good, let's jump in. In at 5, The Descent. Released in 2005, this horror movie follows 6 women who go caving in an unmapped system. They become lost and ultimately trapped as a group of subterrestrial monsters hunt them down and slaughter them. Now, we follow Sarah, a woman that tragically lost her husband not long before, and during the onslaught we find out one of her caving buddies, Juno, was actually having an affair with him before he died. Brutal. So in an intense showdown between Sarah, Juno, and the creatures, Sarah sacrifices Juno, who was ultimately chowed down by the monsters. She deserved it. Jumping forward to the end, Sarah, blood-soaked and feral, finds an opening and fights her way through the creatures to get to safety. And that she does. Except, not in the UK version. In a twist ending, we find out that Sarah was in fact hallucinating her entire escape, and instead, she is still trapped in the winding cave system, soon to be lost to the creatures that surround her. In at 4, Identity. Released in 2003, this psychological horror follows 10 strangers stranded at a Nevada motel during a rainstorm. They begin to get hunted down one by an unknown serial killer on the loose. Now, during the onslaught we jump back and forth to a mass murderer on death row suffering from a dissociative personality disorder, who is attempting to get reprieve based on grounds of insanity. This is important. The twist comes when we learn that the 10 people stranded at the motel aren't actually real, instead embodiments of the serial killer's personality. One persona, played by John Cusack, is an ex-cop who is instructed by the psychiatrist to hunt down the persona who is responsible for the murders and kill it off before it can do more harm. He does just that. However, this is where we get hit with yet another plot twist. It was the wrong persona. The true killer's persona was a 9-year-old boy who was thought to have died in an accident, but was in fact faking it. Horrifying. In at 3, The Mist. Arguably my favourite ending to any film ever, and for all of you Lovecraft fans out there, this is the film for you. The Mist was released in 2007 and received mixed reviews, as most monster movies do. When mist suddenly descends upon a small town, a group of people seek shelter in a supermarket, including a super religious woman who believes Judgment Day is upon them. Fun stuff. With the mist comes a plethora of Lovecraftian creatures, attacking those that exit the supermarket while attempting to find a way in. During the film's climax, the father, his son, and 3 others escape in a car, fleeing to his home to rescue his wife. When he arrives though, he finds his wife is dead and the house destroyed. Quickly giving up hope, they return to the car in hopes of escaping, but in classic horror movie fashion, they run out of gas. Pulling out a gun, they decide to just end it their way as opposed to at the hands of the creatures. The dad shoots the 3 passengers and then his son. Realizing he has no bullets left, he gets out of the car and wanders into the mist, sacrificing himself up to the creatures. But what is arguably the cruelest twist that ever did twist, the mist begins to lift, and military drive by. If the group had waited just a few minutes, they all would have been rescued, but now the poor father has to live with the fact that he had murdered his son for no reason. That sucks. In at 2, Orphan. This film gave me PTSD, and honestly thinking about it makes me anxious and never want to have kids. Released in 2009 and starring one of my favourite people of all time, Vera Farmiga, Orphan follows Kate and John, a couple that adopt a 9-year-old Russian orphan, Esther, after losing one of their own children. Things are fine to begin, they always are, until Esther begins to get extremely violent and oddly sexual, even making moves on her dad. Red flags begin to pop up everywhere and Kate and John become suspicious of the child. And here comes the twist. Esther is not in fact a child. She is a 33-year-old woman called Lena suffering from a condition that stunts her growth. She masks herself as a child in order to kill, and kill she does. By the end of the film we discover that she has killed up to 7 people prior to seeking out Kate and John. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And lastly, in at number 1, The Orphanage. This one is truly dark and dense, so bear with me. It's also pretty sad. Released in 2007, this Spanish horror follows a woman who returns to her childhood home in hopes of turning it into a home for disabled children. During the grand opening, her son Simon, who is suffering from HIV, goes missing, and the woman begins seeing a strange child wearing a sack around the home, along with constant banging. Simon had described him before, naming him Thomas. The woman can't find Simon and soon believes that he may have been abducted by a woman posing as a social worker. However, after investigating the woman, who dies in a car accident not long after, they discover that she once worked at the orphanage and had a son named Thomas who wore a sack to hide his facial deformities. When children stole his sack, he ran away and hid in a cave and drowned. Sad. Now, here's the twist, and it's sad, so grab your tissues. Eventually they find Simon's body in a hidden room in the house. During a flashback we learn that he had hid there after having an argument with his mum. Not knowing about the room, she had moved some bits of scaffolding and accidentally blocked him in. The banging that was heard throughout the house was in fact Simon attempting to get out, before eventually falling and breaking his neck. To make matters worse, upon realizing what she had done, the woman kills herself, but is then reunited with her son. It's sad, but not entirely all bad. Well, there we have it. What do you guys think? Have you seen any of these films? Were there any twists that didn't make it onto our list? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and perhaps we can do a part 3. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.